we all have kind of slightly different approaches to investing. I feel like I actually felt like the most conservative out of all of them, and I hold quite a few altcoins, so I was saying something. But yeah, like I said, my investment thesis is I only invest in projects that I've read the white paper for and I'm very well acquainted with. Like I'm involved in the community. I like the community. The owners are doxxed, and if they're not doxxed, at least I'm interacting with them in some kind of way, or there's some kind of audit, like a cert, like Nova DAO has Certic and Paladin audits. And I know J5. I'm sure those are not easy to get.
Right. Totally not.
Or yeah, and we're about to go through another audit with Polygon. So people think that I'm like talking about a shit coin or something just because it has a low market cap and they're like worried about getting rugged, which I understand. I get it. But what people have to keep in mind is that this is 100% community owned. Whales are discouraged, right? It's a DAO. We don't want people owning like 10% of the supply. So there's fail safes kind of in place to prevent somebody from overtaking it. To me, it just feels like a really special place. Maybe this is how Dogecoin felt in the very beginning, or Dogechain felt in the very beginning, And I just love being a part of it.
That was actually one of the parts of the call today that, I, obviously very much advocate for it and relate to, which is like, the community aspect of it, right? Like the people actually leading, providing feedback, being involved, participating. That's what this is all about. Like, us in this space, like we don't want the gatekeepers behind doors in silos. It's all about being transparent so that we can all be part of the process and see what's going on. So, but definitely Nova DAO, like I had never heard of it before you came on the spaces, Gaussian. So I'm sure that a little bit of marketing could probably go a long way too.
Yeah, and something else that Rock talked about that was very, I just love how transparent he is. And he made sure to tell him that because I don't want him to change. But he was talking about how a lot of projects, and he knows of some, what they do during times like this is they have, I think in J5, you can correct me, but basically wash
Yeah,
trading,
they're
right?
bots that do arbitrage wash trading, just flipping from one exchange to the other. They create
So,
their own opportunities, right? Like you go on, but
no, I was just gonna say, sorry to interrupt you. I didn't mean to. I was gonna say like that was kind of illuminating to me, and he was just talking about there's quite a few chains that do that, and it makes me wonder sometimes when you see, and I'm not gonna necessarily pick on Solana, for instance, or Celestia or any of these ones, but sometimes you just kind of wonder like, why is the price going up so high right now? Like Bitcoin's falling, and there could be a good reason for it, but and then some of them use, let's just say, not the most, this is something we talked about too, that you have to be careful about the KOLs you go to. Some of them are more ethical than others, right? And so he was talking about that too. We covered so much ground, like it was insane.
I think the part that got me the most intrigued was when we started talking about Polygon 2.0 or the Dogechain 2.0 and how they're currently in that process of testing the fees, right? And they recently experienced a 90% drop in fees, is what he was saying, like in the gas fees, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
he was like, that's actually before the upgrade. So it's like he's like, we might actually experience even lower fees, which will essentially translate over to Dogechain 2.0 when they launch it on the full CDK, right? So it's like, wait, say that
Yep.
again? I was like, 90% off already? Then after the actual Ethereum upgrade, we're talking about even more. It's like, damn, like this is going to be, well, number one, all roads to the Polygon. So Polygon's going to like actually what he was saying is this is the year of the L2s, right? Or
Yep, that's what he said. That made my
mm-hmm.
day because I shoved a boatload of money into Polygon. Like I sold all my Avalanche when it was at $50 to Polygon. I've been adding to Polygon, just trying to get as much as I can. I feel like it's been on a fire sale because I see what Rock sees. Like I see Polygon blowing Solana out of the water. Like I see Solana. No offense to Solana holders. I actually have a Solana sweatshirt from last cycle. Just not my favorite chain anymore. I don't like the VC infested chains, but Solana is on a tear right now, so egg on my face. But Solana is the fastest blockchain in the space, but I think that's about to change. I think once Polygon takes over the world, you're gonna get that trilemma just not solved, but I mean scalability, security, and speed, just straight up, all three. It's going to be incredible.
And
Like, it seems... Go ahead.
sorry, I was just adding to what you were saying. Keep going, keep going.
I was going to say, it seems like a pipe dream, right? Like, everybody's fudding on Polygon. Like, I'm part of the Polygon telegrams, the unofficial and the official, and I hate when they split up like that. QuickSwap has that too for some reason. But there's so much FUD. There's so many people, even in the other groups I'm a part of, everybody's just hating on Polygon. And that's how you know, oh, this is the time to be buying. Nobody wants to. Like, you guys are going to get left in the dust. Now, I think Polygon's going to be number 3 behind ETH. And then Rock said today that he thinks it's going to flip ETH. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, you got to be kidding me. But, hey, he's saying that, so I guess I'll take what he has to say seriously. But I have a hard time seeing that. But what do you think, J5? Do you think Polygon could flip ETH?
I think, so number one, I personally was seeing a bigger vision, a broad vision, what Rock was saying in terms of like, you know, all roads. Like I didn't understand what he meant by the roads, but when you break it down, you think of the ag layer, right? The aggregate layer that's basically tapping into liquidity across multiple pools, right? Like when you start really thinking about that, it's like, oh, there's literally roads, bridges to other chains. So then instead of it just being like Solana has its own liquidity, right? They have to build this like bridging, right? Now we're talking about this path that's there, right? For this ag layer to essentially bring in this additional liquidity without these bridging and these other processes, right? And it's all zero knowledge, right? So trustless, you know what I mean? Like, so when you start really breaking all that down, you're talking about like the possibilities, maybe not right now, but in the future, they're definitely going to have an interesting relationship. And I agree. Like I definitely, you heard me when he said, I think it's going to be number 3. I'm like, 3's fun. Get out of here, right? Because honestly, like if Polygon truly taps in like that, like everyone's going to want to fork that, which obviously you see there's a lot of forks already. And so tapping into that ag layer is going to be key for a lot of these guys, right? It's like, in my opinion, it's checkmate. And I think that's what he sees too. Because long term, it's just like once you tap into the pool, like the main pool, like it's like you're in, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. Like, you're even more bullish than I already was, and I'm always getting pushback from people for being so bullish on Polygon. But you're right. Like, it eliminates the need for bridges.
I mean, just think about it like this. OKX could have chosen any other fork or any other chain to fork, but which one did they choose?
They chose Polygon.
Yeah, that's all I needed to know. Like when I started diving in deeper, I'm like, wait, you guys are going ZK, but you didn't just choose any ZK, you chose Polygon ZK, right? So as I dove in deeper, I'm like, son of a bitch, I see why you're going this method. I see why you're going this route. I think it's going to be brilliant, and others are going to follow suit. And we're already seeing it. It's kind of like, you know,
and yeah, and you know, what's funny is like it shows. This is why like. Ivan and I also kind of disagreed on the importance of technical analysis, but that's okay. We talked briefly about that, but like I was talking about total 3 and minus Bitcoin divided by, you know, whatever else. Or total 3 minus USDT divided by Bitcoin. I think I was confusing people, but I've been staring at the Polygon chart for years, and I noticed it formed a multi-year bull flag, like going back to, I think, 2020, and it's broken out of that bull flag, and it's back tested, and it's like, you know, a multiple year bull flag kind of tells you the story. It tells you that Polygon's been working hard behind the scenes, not focusing on marketing so much like these other chains, but that they're going to come out. It's just checkmate. Exactly. And I think Solana's going to finally get a taste of like real competition. Like for the first time, maybe they'll have to finally say, you know what, we're going to go to Polygon. Wouldn't that be funny?
And tap into that ag layer. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, it's actually something that it's really funny. But last night on our space, K-Bot actually said, I think it was last night or the night before, but K-Bot came up here and said a key word. He said atomic transactions, and then just dipped out, right? And do you remember what Rock was saying? He actually said atomic swaps, which is in a similar sense of those basically swap, like trustless, personless, like complete, like taking people out of the loop, right? Just trustless swaps, just they're happening, right? And it's like, Yeah, that's some interesting stuff. But you're talking like bank. You're talking like at a whole other level, right? Where it's just like it's all happening automated, right? So that vision is huge, and I think you see it. Obviously, you see it. You wouldn't be as bullish on this as I am, but you got me more bullish because I was hearing a bunch of this stuff, and I'm just like, okay, I see. But when you started diving into the Agler, I'm like, oh my god, I was right in front. It was like, you know what they say, like it gets lost between the nose. That's what was happening.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit it, I was just like, oh, this man, I'm sure you already know this. I think you're a freaking genius too. So yeah, like just some of the things you bring up are like, they've opened my mind. It's like, it's always been there, but it's like, it just needed that, you know, what do you say? You cracked it is what I'm
The
saying.
Gaussian touch.
Yeah, there it is.
The snake bite. Yeah, no, I love your enthusiasm for Poly. I feel like you see the vision, it's like hard to see right now because price-wise, Polygon hasn't done much. I mean, it has come up a little bit, but I'm just telling people, be patient, please. Let them build. They're focusing on the important things in the space. We're going to have a multi-chain interoperable space, and that is going to lead to massive adoption. I mean, can you just imagine that right there is the game changer? It is the ag layer. That is exactly what changes the game. Speaking of games, IMX, another layer two, they're also going to be using Polygon CDK. So, I mean, how can you not be bullish on it? That's what I wonder. I guess some people are just too focused on price. I think somebody has their hand up. It looks like Cardi B.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. You guys have been riffing so good, inspired some people to come up. Cardi B, I want to go to you, but Chris did come up first, so I just want to acknowledge. Chris, thank you so much for coming up. Is it okay if we go to the hand first?
Please do, especially Cardi B.
I know. It's all fam here. Thank you so much. Welcome, Cardi B. Good evening. How are you? Jump right in.
Good. Nice to come by with y'all this evening, this day. Great to see y'all. Love coming in and hearing a vibe fest about layer twos and nerdy blockchain shit. That's my personal favorite part about this space. I mean, sometimes it's fun to indulge, the art and the connection between the two, but if it doesn't run good underneath, then people aren't inspired and creativity and potential can't be lived up to. And that's what I think we saw in the previous boom. Layer one gas prices really did squash a lot of ideas people had. And the instability is of layer twos or other layer ones like Sol at that point weren't enough to take on the burden. And maybe that's a lot why, things went backwards. What I will, part of the reason I raised my hand, jumped up and raised my hand, is because I'm happy to jump on a Polygon vibe session pretty much at any point. It's a chain that I've kept an eye on for a long time, as y'all know. Like my whole persona is basically being an ETH maxi. And part of the reason why I'm such a big believer in ETH is because years ago I read an interview by the founders of Polygon and their perspective and the way that they were looking at scaling Ethereum and coming out the space really opened my eyes to the potential of an ecosystem where smart people could just come up with their own solutions to solve these bigger problems and not rely on a top-down entity or something like that, like like oftentimes gets seen in the corporate tech web2, as we sometimes call it, world. What I've always appreciated about Polygon is that they jumped in early and they just came up with a chain, right? They came up with that proof of work, basically side chain. I mean, the original Polygon was basically like a parasite, blockchain that they put together. But it was never intended to be that in the long run. It was meant to just get out there and create this experimentation and, start to figure out how to, use the infrastructure of ETH, like the addresses and all that to scale. And then, they've put out chain sense, we're talking about, the roll-up chains and all that, and there's ZK chain, and I think they have a bunch of different teams. It's like a Microsoft type environment internally, where there's a bunch of different teams, all kind of vibing against each other, but with each other to develop out this tech. I think it's allowed their tech to move a lot faster than some of the other layer twos that maybe got head starts in other places, especially in the NFT space, because that early blockchain, back in 21 and all that, got a lot of NFT exposure because it was a way that were people that were ETH adjacent to mint and, trade cheap NFTs, gas-wise cheap, And I think that a lot of that momentum, I've been worried about how they would carry it forward. And that was the one thing I was worried about. But they've made such good decisions to pivot Manic into being a staking token